Hi, welcome to Step by Step Farming. I'm here at the Bee Barn in Paducah, Kentucky, and I'm here with
Jordan Haynes.
Jordan. Hi, Jordan. Can you tell us a little bit about, we're supposed to be picking up some packaged bees, and can you tell us a little bit about the operation, how that works, and exactly what is a packaged bee system?
Yeah. So a package of bees, when you go to pick one up, actually would look like something about like this.
Ooh.
Got about 3 pounds of bees. Tends to be somewhere around 10,000 bees in there.
Wow. Look at that. That's amazing.
And inside the package of bees themselves, I'll use this used one so we can actually see through it.
Okay.
You'll actually see it's basically just a wooden box with screen and a metal syrup can.
Okay.
So you'll also see on both of these there's a little black plastic strap. On some of them, I've seen some of the older ones that'll be cloth, but nowadays they tend to be plastic. But attached to that will actually be a queen cage.
Okay.
So that's where your queen bee, that's where your important one is. The most important one might say.
The queen.
Yep.
Yes.
And the important thing, whenever you would go to use any of these cages like this, is if you look, there's a white section here. That's what's called queen candy.
Okay.
So there tends to be a cork in both ends, and some people just be like, pull out the cork. You want to pull out the queen candy side.
Okay, pull out the queen candy side.
Yep.
Okay.
If you do the other side, it's called a direct release, and sometimes she just flies off.
Okay, and if you pull out the queen candy side, they have to eat that, or does she eat that out?
She'll eat a little bit, but most of the worker bees will actually do the eating. It'll take about 2.5 to 3 days for them to get through that.
Got you. Okay. Yep. Interesting.
And one of the reasons that's kind of important is a package it consists of bees from multiple colonies typically. Your larger operations, they'll actually take and they'll pull frames of bees. Like I could go down this whole line and just pull a frame out of each of them.
Oh,
and put them in a screen box and then bring them back to like a nice aired out warehouse and go through and shake them down then. So with them coming from different colonies, that means a lot of them, this isn't going to be their mother. You know, they don't have that familial tie to them.
Okay.
So, of course, she's been hanging in the box. They've been getting used to her smelling, getting used to her pheromone. But the extra 3 days, especially since they've went from being a conjoined item to being shaken into a box or being released into the box, sometimes it angers them a little bit, So that 3 days is kind of important for them to get reused to each other again.
Gotcha. Okay.
But where did I put my food? I can use this. Whenever you get your package, there'll be typically it's just a piece of small plywood that's stapled to it, and you can use a hive tool and pry that up.
Okay.
Whenever you pry it up, it will look, and I'll put it in the same direction, very much like this.
Okay.
The black strap will be stapled to here. It'll go in, and your queen cage would be on the inside. Again, I've got this one out in my hand. And then the syrup can will be here.
Okay.
Whenever it's empty, like I'm doing, you can just use your fingertips and get it out. Whenever it's full, it's got a lot more heft to it. You might end up having to take a hive tool for it, scraper, what have you. And whenever I take out that syrup can, a lot of times there will be a bunch of bees hanging down from it. So I like to kind of shake them off a little bit.
Okay.
And I'll put that wood piece, that wood cover, and slide back over the hole so I can move it out of the way so I'm not worrying about this syrup can spilling all over the place.
Understood. Okay.
And then I'll pull her out, close it back up for a second so I can get the queen cage out.
Okay.
I can actually use this. This is just a swarm trap we have sitting here. We haven't hung it up yet. But I can use it as an example.
You hear the bees? I don't know if you can hear it.
I can hear it.
3 pounds, 10,000 bees, approximately. It's amazing.
So, what I like to do is
And this is your swarm box that you hang in the tree.
This is a swarm trap, yep.
Okay.
We've actually got a different style, but it's hanging over in the tree.
I see it.
That's like the style like what we actually sell here. We paint them green So that way, a lot of people hang swarm traps in very rural areas. And you know, for whatever reason, sometimes people just like to mess with stuff. So we try to
Okay.
camouflage it a little bit.
I understand.
But what I like to do whenever I go to release, you know, or not release, but put a package into a hive, install one, if you will, I like to take my queen cage and I'll pull out, and I just got a nail. You can use a knife, a nail. If the cork's loose fitting, you can actually use a hive tool as well. But I like to pull the queen candy side cork out. And everybody's a little different. Some people actually like to take a nail and stab through the queen candy. The theory is it helps the queen pheromone go through that area. I don't really think it's necessary, but what's an extra, 1 second process, right? Well, I like to put it right in the center of the box, and then push the frames against it. If you had frames with drawn comb, like I'm gonna pull this, there's probably gonna be some bees on it. They're just robbing it out. It's some old equipment.
They're just eating the honey off?
Yeah.
Okay. And he has no suit on. And we're standing right, I don't know if you all can see, but like there's bees all around us. So,
Yep. So if you already had comb,
uh-huh.
then what you can do is you can actually take the cage and just kind of push right into it. And then you can just like lower it in.
Okay.
And it'll pretty well hold it in.
Got you.
This wax is a little bit firm. It's darker wax. That means there's been a lot of brood cycles through it. So a lot of future baby bees is what I call them.
Got you.
But I'll kind of push them together. If I've got an empty other box, which I do. Just wasn't right here. What I like to do, this is an 8-frame box, this is a 10 one, but for the purpose of the demonstration it works. I like to take the syrup can and just lay on top of the top bars off to the side. So we've got all these wooden frames. This dark plastic one is where I'd have the queen.
Okay.
So I'll put the syrup can to one side, and I take the whole package with all the bees that would be in it, remove the cover, and I just turn it upside down, and then put the lid over that whole thing.
Oh.
It's a little of a gentler approach to it.
Okay.
What I would do is after a day, I would come back, and by then, there might be a handful or two of bees in here. Then I would shake those out. Instead of shaking all 3 pounds, I'm only shaking out like half a pound.
Got you. Okay.
It's a little easier on them. And then you can take off that second box, and depending on your equipment, this is a different style, but I'll just grab one real quick.
Hey guys.
The bee can't see my shirt.
You want to say hi?
Hi. Hello. Mom, the bee can't. Mom, the bee
Yes.
can't see my shirt because it's
Most
It's red?
people,
Oh, okay.
beekeepers, use Langstroth equipment, which that's what this is. And this is an 8-frame specifically. But whenever I would remove the second box, only reason I'm removing it is because I don't want them to build comb all on the lid, basically.
Okay.
So I would end up adding this in, putting this back, and then set it back up and put the top on.
Understood.
And that way, because there's enough syrup in these cans for them to build out some comb off of. And even with a pretty active package, I would expect the syrup can to last them for probably the better part, maybe up to a week.
Okay.
And it's just like a sugar syrup.
Okay.
But
Now, are these our bees right here we're
Yeah.
taking back home with
Yep.
us? And they absolutely cannot get out of that box, can they?
I am a fan of saying there's not very many absolutes in beekeeping.
Okay.
Like on this, you can see that there's a little straggler here that I'll end up taking out
Right.
or brushing off. but very unlikely, you know. Because it's a metal screen, you know.
Right.
It's stapled all the way around the edges. For people who's transporting bees and they want to be very sure that they don't have any random incidents, a package is pretty safe.
Okay.
It's
I mean, it looks pretty safe.
Yeah.
It looks pretty safe. I was just curious.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, and we do have people who will have a sedan, and they'll come and get the nucleus colonies. Mm-hmm. And now those ones, we can close those up as well, but I call it beekeeper Tupperware. The lids are kind of like snap fit Tupperware. They can pop off if they get jarred.
Right.
So as a tip, if you're coming to go pick up bees in a nuke box, or even just for having around in case you actually get a swarm call or something, laundry bags. The mesh laundry bags.
Oh, that's a great idea.
You can close up the
If
whole
I
thing.
had one at home. If I had thought about that, I would have brought one.
Yep.
But all right.
Laundry bags are wonderful for it.
Wonderful. Well, Jordan,
Yep.
is that right?
Yep.
Jordan, thank you so much for giving us all this really informative information. We definitely appreciate it. And we will be back again. We'll get you guys updated when we get home. Thanks. Thank
Bye.
you.